today I want to talk about something that I think affects so many people. Morning, Chris. Nice to see you. And that is money mindset. So I want to talk about money mindset for those of you on here that watch me that are in business, but also for those of you that watch me that aren't in business. It can still massively help you. So when I first started in this kind of online world, people kept talking about money mindset and how it can affect you. And I kind of had it down as, you know me, kind of had it down as a woo thing. So like, not listening to that, that doesn't sound like something, more in Bev, that I need. But the more I studied money mindset, the more it became something that I really rely on and that works for me. And not really in a woo way. I mean, some of it does seem a bit like a woo way, I suppose. Some of it, like if I do my money mindset work, money does come in. And so I suppose you could say it's kind of a woo way, but really it's not, because it's about action, which is what all money mindset is about. So when I first started, I wasn't making any money. And I started doing money mindset work and I crashed through money barriers that I wouldn't have been able to get before. And lots of people say to me, well, okay, let's say we want to do some money mindset. They've maybe read some of the books out there and it hasn't really, they don't really gel with it. But, first introduction to me was a money mindset class. It's still working, right? I still do money mindset work nearly every day. Not every day these days, but nearly every day. But when I started, I did do it every day. And people ask me what I actually do. What's the physical work that I do on money mindset? So I'm going to tell you 3 of the practices that I do so that you can do them. Because I think if you've never had money before, those of you that follow me, you know that I grew up in poverty. We didn't have loads of money. We often didn't have money to buy the things we needed. And so, you know, growing up on a council estate, as loads of us do, nothing to be ashamed of there, meant that I wasn't surrounded by people that had money. So I just assumed, yeah, we're adjacent here too. I just assumed that money was hard to get, that money was really hard to come by because we didn't have it. And actually it's not hard to come by. You just have to know that there's quite a lot of it out there. It's just all in the hands of the same people, but you can get some of it. And once I realised that and I started practicing different kind of things around money and about the emotions I had around money, it changed things, because my emotions were that money was bad. And, you know, some people still believe that, you know, money is a bad thing. And if we believe that anything is bad, our subconscious is not going to go and find ways to get more of it, is it? Because it's bad. Why would we want it? So even though we might be saying, oh, we want some more money, if in the back of our minds we think money is, I actually used to say money is evil, then our subconscious is not going to find ways. It's going to block us all the way, because our subconscious is really powerful. And so it can block. We self-sabotage all the time. And that's one way it can self-sabotage. If we think money is really hard to get, then our subconscious is going to make sure we work really hard to get it. And it was only when I realised you didn't actually have to work really hard. You had to be consistent, but you didn't have to work really hard to get money. I do work less now than I've ever really worked, especially this year. And I am making more money than I've ever made. You know, we made 4 million last year, 4.2 million. And I wouldn't say that I did work harder last year because it was a hard year, but I still wouldn't say I worked as hard as when I was in a 9-to-5 job. So, you know, it's all relative. So here are some of the things that I did back then, and I still do sometimes now, to help me get money. So the first thing I do is I write a list. So I had a mentor that told me to do this in the first year, and I thought it was ridiculous, and I kind of humoured her. But I wrote down, she said to me, write down a list of all the things that you would like to buy this year. And she said, and don't try and think, oh, well, what am I allowed to buy? Or like, how much money do I have to buy it? Just put what you want, what you would like to buy. I wrote a list of 20 things. And honestly, I did feel like I was humouring her because I had no money at the time. I was 35 grand in debt. And so I was like, this is pointless. Like, I've got a load of debt. So, but I sat there and I did what she said, and I wrote down first small things. I wrote down things like, a new set of makeup, because I hadn't had one for like 10 years. And I wrote things like clothes, and then it went bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till we got to like first class flights to New York, my husband being able to leave his job to come and work with me, like all these things. And I wrote them and I just put them on the wall, like she said, next to me, which I suppose some people would see that as a vision board, but I think vision boards, we'll go into that on another day, but vision boards aren't my thing. So then every time I made a bit of money, and at the beginning I only made a little bit of money, the first 40 quid, I went and bought some new makeup and I crossed it off the list. And these have to be things that aren't paying off debt. Because yes, we're going to put a percentage towards debt. If we have debt, we have to do that. But actually, these are things that you want that are going to drive you to want to take more action and do more work. Because once I started crossing off some of these things, I was then like, right, if I make another 5 grand, I'm going to be able to get that thing. And then as I started to make more money, if I make another 20 grand, I'll be able to get those first class flights. And I started doing that. By the end of that year, I had crossed off every single thing on the list apart from one, which was my husband being able to leave work, because I needed to make quite a lot of money per month for that one, so that he could work with me. 7 days later, so it was literally into the second year, he left work and came and worked with me. So everything on that list was done. Now, at the beginning when I wrote that list, there's no way I would have thought that could happen. I just would have laughed to think that would happen. But I think that knowing where that money is going makes you very, very focused, and it makes your drive bigger. So you go and do things that you wouldn't normally do. It's uncomfortable being an entrepreneur. You do like some stuff as an entrepreneur that is hard. And, the first time I stood on a stage, I threw up. The first time I went live, I didn't really like it. Like, there's so many things that you do that you don't really want to do. But if there's a reason for it and there's a reward at the end of it, you're much more likely to do it. So write down the actual things that the money will be spent on if you make it. I still do that now. And the money's different now because obviously there's not so many things I need. So now the money goes to others. And that's even more powerful. If you've got a desire to impact people and to be able to, I do some random things online. Like I'll say, every now and again, I'll say, what would you do with an extra £100? And then I'll look through the list of people and what they said they wanted, and all the people that need something like food or to go and see a grandparent or any of those things, I'll just pay it into their bank account. I can't do that unless I have spare money. So even if you're thinking, well, I'm not really a money-orientated person, you can think of things how you want to help others with that money, and that will make you a money-oriented person because you want to help others. So if your thing is to impact others, that will help you do it. So that's the first thing to do, and I still do that now. The second thing I did is I really worked on my money story. So we all have one. We all have our own ideas about money, and it's usually based on things that have happened to us when we were younger. So what we believe about money is because of things that have happened to us. So for instance, the reason I thought money was a bad thing, like I can go back and I can see parents arguing over money, like loads of parents do. That will say into my head, well, money is bad. It makes people shout at each other. Things like my first day at school, I got a scholarship to a private school and I was in a second-hand uniform and I had money, I had a little ticket to get free school lunches. People had a go at me. They made fun of me for being poor. Money is bad. People with money are bad. Do you see how the connections are made? I would be standing in my estate and somebody would go past in a nice coat that was obviously designer or in a nice car, and people wouldn't say, look at the amazing woman with the nice car. They would say something very different, usually with swearing in. And so to me, that made me go, oh, having money is bad. People think that people with money are bad. So you don't want to get money then. Your subconscious goes, oh, don't be that person that has money. So all of these money story things, they affect you. Even if you had money when you were younger. So I had a client that had money and she was really rich. Her parents were really rich. They both had businesses and she didn't think she had a money story. And then when we went further into it, it turns out that she believed that if she made lots of money, it would mean that she would be sacrificing time with her children, because when she was younger, she never saw her parents because they were working all the time. So that connected a little story in her head that didn't need to be true, that made her self-sabotage making more money. So we all have this like money story. So you need to work out what that is and then look at the patterns that you're making. So I used to believe that there wasn't much money around, so I'd get jealous of people that had it. Because I'd be like, if they've got it, that means I can't have it. Because they've taken some of the pie. So there's not enough pie left for me. Which makes no sense, because there's enough for everyone. It's just not shared out equally. We need more of us that don't have it to go out there and get some, so it's shared more equally. So, you know, it starts making you think in different ways. Once I knew that actually that person over there doing really well and having money doesn't mean I can't, the jealous feeling goes. And instead it's inspirational. So it can change the way you even think. So go through your money story if you can, and your money story will change. So obviously mine's changed over the years, and I still have to work on it now, because every different level makes you think differently about what money is. Last year was really hard, because I started to realise that although money can give you so many opportunities, it actually doesn't make you happy. And I'd always believed that it would. So once we got to that stage, then I kind of went through this phase of, well, what's the point of trying to make it then? But then I realised that what does make me fulfilled and happy is helping others. If I have more money, I can help others. And so I had to work on my money mindset again. And also I like nice things. Quite frankly, it doesn't make me overall fulfilled or happy, but in that moment, it makes me happy to buy a nice thing. So that's one thing you can do, is like really work on your money story. The third thing to do that I think really helps is to work out what your limiting beliefs are and change that. So if my limiting belief was money is a bad thing, I had to go and find people that actually are doing good with their money. Because that showed me that actually money isn't always bad. People are bad. Some people are bad, and if they have money, that will make them worse. But if people are good and they have money, that will make them do even more good things. And so finding evidence that money is there. So for instance, I would say people like me, people that grow up where I grow up, they don't make millions of pounds. That's what my subconscious was telling me all the time. And that was stopping me from making millions of pounds. So then, you know, some people write affirmations. It doesn't work on me. I feel like I'm conning myself. I have to go out and find the evidence. Hey, Nikki, go find the evidence of people that come from where I come from that have made millions of pounds. Because if I can see that somebody else has done it, my head goes, well, if somebody else has done it, you're more likely to do it. So I find the evidence of the things I want to believe in. So money is evil. Okay, let's find the evidence that's not true. People like me don't make that kind of money. I also used to think bigger people like me don't make money. Yeah, I've always been a size 16. I still am now. And I used to think like, you know, it's only really skinny people that make money, really attractive people that make money, which is ridiculous. But that's what my subconscious was telling me. So I had to go out there and find the evidence that that isn't true, because that can help you realize you can do it too. So doing all of these money mindset practices can hugely help your subconscious to go find the money. If you do one thing today, just write how much money you want to make this year on a piece of paper and stick it to somewhere you see every day, because it just keeps your mind focused. Whatever we focus on grows. If we're focusing on friendships and getting more friendships, we get more friendships. If we focus on health, we get healthier. If we want to focus on making more money, we need to focus on just that. We need to be writing down what money's coming in. We need to like delve into money. It all needs to be about that, because whatever we focus on grows. So if we don't talk about money and we think money is vulgar, and we don't like people that talk about money online, don't expect to make any, because whatever we focus on grows. Okay, that's my little tip for today.